so long ago, it was very, very prevalent.
Yeah.
Really good in the lane. TFT, again, they don't really have much to punish it. Like Shadow Demon can't really do much about it. It's a really, really nice fourth pick. I like this a lot because it kind of secures that lane just in of itself. Like you go, you send it against the Juggernaut, you deny his range creeps, all that good stuff.
10
Very
seconds
stable.
remaining.
And again, there's not really much to interrupt Black Hole. Now the
5
Axe has
seconds
this
remaining.
really awkward game where you want to be able to call either the cores or like the Enigma. And now, no matter what happens, someone is going to be able to counterplay you, right? You have the Bane, you have the Willow with Terrorize, you have Black Hole and Midnight Pulse. And the other thing about Enigma is it's almost impossible to tank against that hero. Midnight Pulse pierces BKB. Raw health doesn't really do that much because it's percentage-based damage. And it gives you that kind of... Throughout the entire game, no matter what happens, Enigma's always going to be kill threat. Like, that's one of the things that he does that not really any other heroes in Dota from his role do. And that's just, I do tons of damage at every single stage in the game if I'm allowed to get a Black Hole.
Yeah.
And Chaos are going to go back to the last pick on the PL. It's a pretty good PL game, in my opinion. He gets kind of a freebie, I would say, against the Juggernaut, because realistically, you're never going to be able to Omni him. He's just going to be able to doppelganger away. I think it's a pretty free PL game up until this point, so we'll see what TFT does to counter this one.
Wow. PL is not a popular hero right now in these qualifiers. It's only been played 4 times between all the regions, has not been played yet in Europe, so this is a little bit of a curveball from Chaos at these playoff stages now with that Phantom Lancer pick. And, I was also looking at it a little bit more with the matchups. It doesn't seem like a really strong PL game. They have ways to certainly deal with him and his illusions. So, yeah, I'm throwing off a little bit personally by this pick.
I don't think they have that much, honestly. Like, Axe and Jug are decent at dealing with him, but the way that PL likes to play fights is he's always the guy who's pretty elusive. He goes around, he tries to find the supports and the early parts of the fight. And if they commit, like hard commit to a
safe opening and a very safe finish for TFT, I suppose.
Yeah, the Medusa was, I think, their best choice. But at the same time, I feel like at the 5th pick that they were kind of forced into picking a hero like that. So, obviously Misery on the side of Chaos, very experienced captain drafter. He's been around forever. I feel like he might have gotten a little bit of an edge here on TFT, just in regards of how each team's game plan is going to function. Because I feel like if both teams just farm, normally you look at a Medusa Jug and you say, okay, this lineup probably has the advantage, just innately because they have that kind of dual core thing going. But I don't know if that's really true this game, because Enigma's always that X factor that you have to worry about. And in games where you don't have a lot of ways to stop Black Hole, and people always say, he's not all about the Black Hole, all this other stuff. And that's absolutely true. Mm-hmm. But think about a game where he doesn't have to worry about getting it canceled. Then it makes it even worse, So that's kind of what I'm looking at and saying, this is where I feel like Chaos are going to get their advantage. Now, the laning phase can completely turn a game on its head. So if somehow TFT can get some favorable lanes and, get the Medusa really far ahead and do this like early siege, it'll be great. They are going to get a banish here.
First blood is very likely as 4 heroes show up, and Milan, realizing that's going to be his death, he just runs towards them, makes it happen a little quicker. So Era, interestingly enough, ends up getting the first blood, but either way, it's a first blood for TFT, and you talk about needing a good start, and that's exactly one way to do it.
Yeah, they're doing the aggro try. I think this is a really good choice. They know that they're playing up against an Enigma, so like conventional dual lanes are, in my opinion, you're just losing, right? Like it's rough to say at the beginning, but you're just losing because the Enigma's always going to be denying those creeps and stuff. And as much as I would have liked the tri lane, it looks like they are just gonna go ahead and send a Shadow Demon top anyway. So not willing to risk losing too much EXP, splitting it, and then also having the Enigma there, which I suppose is also fair. And it does mean that it's going to be Axe Shadow Demon against Bane, PL, and then bot. We're going to have the Lina and the Jug versus Enigma and Willow. So both teams kind of getting what they want, and that the Axe is against PL. That's what TFT wants. And then the Enigma against Jug, which is definitely what Chaos wants. So both teams kind of getting what they were looking for. We'll see who comes out ahead.
Yeah, we will indeed. Enigma, of course, good at bringing back that lane with the demonic conversion. As he loses Eidolon's there, there's more to come, I'm sure, as Milan also doing what he can nearby, hard denying as best as they can, but constantly going to be pushing to the tower. Thanks to that denying that's happening. But our mid matchup, Death Prophet versus the Medusa, and you see right here, Matuma Man right away puts a siphon up and just runs at Chessie. Is this a matchup where you can see it's favored for either side, or is this just going to be one where both perhaps will look to get good CS?
I think for the beginning, DP is going to have an advantage. She has very high base damage, and Spirit Siphon makes it extremely difficult to trade. But as time goes on, Chessie's going to get points into the split shot, more Mystic Snake, and he'll try to push the wave out and do his jungle farming. So eventually, I think Chessie will recover, but for the first couple of levels, I think DP has the advantage.
Illusion.
And that top, as mentioned, essentially running a safe lane axe right here due to the matchup. So Zibe, every time Phantom Lancer runs up, the auto attacks happen, and of course has that counter Helix threat on top of that. So feeling pretty good as far as how the laning phase is shaping up right now. Looking at PL, is this a pretty typical PL game, you think, in terms of the item build? Are we going to see the early maybe Diffusal Blade and working from there?
That's kind of what I would assume. He might go for something like a Manta first, depending on how greedy he wants to be. But like I said, I don't feel like they're in any rush. So normally when you want to really be active, you just get like Yasha Diffusal or just straight up Diffusal sometimes. But in games like this, I wouldn't even mind if you wanted to finish up a Manta.
Yeah. We'll see the progress and what that turns out to be. Of course, Lina in the hands of Hanskin, so that earlier on Lina pick certainly could have ended up in the mid-roll, but not the case. More of the support instead, and we've seen some successful support Linas, certainly, as they wanted that Medusa, especially into the Phantom Lancer matchup. Feels pretty good. Could go both ways, though. You do look at that, talking about the item build of PL, and again, yeah, the Diffusal Blade for PL, obviously great at burning that mana of Medusa, so there's that fun interaction there that we'll see throughout the game.
Oh, Misery.
In trouble. He is going to be banished up. Disruption hits. Zibe, sleep wears off, and just going to run at him right now with the Battle Hunger, and eventually another auto attack as Era once again gets credit for the kill. You see Phantom Lancer even comes over to try to steal some of the creeps in the meantime, but Milan goes down at the bottom lane. Meanwhile, the Midnight Pulse not enough of a threat to save as the Juggernaut spin, I'm sure, heavily involved in making that kill take place. So just like that, we have a 3-0 lead now for TFT.
Yeah, this is why I always like to mention at the beginning of games that the laning phase can totally change how things work out. The bottom death is a bit more surprising than the top death, because you can see Zibe up here. He's just having a grand old time. There's not really much that Chaos with these two heroes can do against him, and that's one of the benefits of having the Axe, and surprisingly enough, he got this good of a lane being a first phase hero. And I guess that's kind of the benefit of Axe, is that worst case scenario, you just cut. And then you force a reaction out of the enemy regardless. And I think that's why, at least in the European region, I believe he's been picked quite a bit. So that's one of the benefits of the hero. And we see a little bit of action going up on top. Bounty Run's going to be spawning soon-ish.
Yeah, so setting up in the area at least is Milan, but Era going to start spamming those poisons. Of course, it can get expensive, though, the more you use of it. So just have clarities to back it up. And poison mana cost was reduced slightly in the recent history. Help out Shadow Demon a bit, but yeah, 40 mana, every single cast, still pretty expensive when you add it all up. If you want to go for those 5 stacks, especially for the heavy burst, but 5-minute runes are just about to hit, and right now it's seeming like the Radiant Squad and Chaos could control the top ones. Arrow's coming over, but you also see Bane running over from the other side. He's going to pick it up, and that should be the end of it. I don't think any contesting more will happen. It ends up being a 2-for-2, though. Hanskin gets both the bottom ones for TFT, so very even split there.
This is a really weird kind of movement, I feel. They're trying to kill this Axe. He's level 5, though, with boots and a ring of health. I don't really think they have the damage. Yeah, they're just kind of attacking each other. But it's strange, because bottom, like, the small camp was sentryed, and the large camp was sentryed by both teams, so neither camp really spawns, which means Milan didn't have anywhere to soak EXP. Like, he couldn't pull, he couldn't do anything like that. So he just abandons bot. And now they're kind of running this, like, pseudo-tri-lane kind of thing, and I'm not really sure how I feel about it. They're going to go on Hanskin mid lane.
Trying to make a kill happen. Exorcism committed for this. If anything, push the tower as a result. Tumbleman wants the hero kill, damn it. Crypt's already connects, but it's not enough damage. Hanskin will barely, or not Hanskin. Yeah, Hanskin will barely survive, that is. Playing the Lena, but now Disruption coming out as they catch Bane. He went a little too deep, and Misery is taken out. The sleep not going to be nearly enough. Chessie goes down, though, just to the left. The Exorcism's still there, and of course Dark Will nearby with the Bramble Maze to keep her in play, so they catch Hanskin, or Chessie out of position, that is, on the Medusa, and finally a kill at least for Chaos. I mean, considering who they got, that ends up being a pretty good exchange.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he was expecting. Like, he had Exorcism going, and that's an insane amount of damage. Like, each one of those spirits hits for 58 damage, and there's 8 of them. So, you know, you got 2 Wraith bands, that's great, but you're not strong enough to tank that basically solo. Probably wasn't expecting him to just casually walk up to the high ground. Matuma getting some good damage here on mid lane. Tower's at about half HP. But yeah, even with the kill advantage, TFT are only looking at a 1,000 gold lead at 7 minutes. Not really anything to write home about, and it looks like we do see a lane switch now that the Vanguard's completed on Zibe, and he's just going to chill bottom. Killing this hero right now for Chaos is just not worth it. Like, you can just leave Enigma down here.
Well, speaking of Enigma, he's going to be involved in trying to go for a kill on Shadow Demon, but not enough pressure. Not enough chase, I should say, and he just walks away. He'll be fine, but yeah, going back to Zibe, I mean, Axe is one of these heroes. We've seen him before. Hell, we just saw last year at TI8, of course, with 7 OG and what he was able to do in those grand finals. I mean, this is certainly a hero that can control the pace of the game early on with some farm, and that's exactly what Zibe has right now. He's got the blink queued up. As soon as that blink happens, are you a bit worried for Chaos?
This is the guy that's going to break the game for TFT. So I would absolutely be concerned about this Axe having like a pre-7-minute Vanguard and, you know, already 400 gold. He can just taunt the conversions under the tower. Do have to be a little bit careful of the Midnight Pulse. But yeah, otherwise, they just do not have the damage to deal with him. Sometimes there are games like this where there's a hero that you just have to basically ignore. You think of it like a Timber Saw or, you know, some other hero that just has 20 to 25 minutes of I can't die. And then eventually, you know, if the game goes long enough, you can scale and maybe get that guy down, but it's not going to be for a while.
Matamba showing that he's not afraid to play aggressive once again. He dives all the way to the tier 2, just about to pressure Shadow Demon. Not going to get the kill, but keeps him away, and we'll be able to pick up a regen room on his way back. So power treads, a couple of no talismans, working towards the Yules. Pretty typical stuff for DP here. And Matamba, man, trying to address that Axe now as we're just talking about him. Rotation's coming in. In fact, Bane's in the flank on top of this, but Zibe, is he out of position? Going to be slept up. They do have Exorcism.
They need to hold him.
They're going to go for it. They're trying. Enigma couldn't really get there in time. Nice disruption, and Era will save Axe in the end. So the rotation, not going to get a kill, but they will be able to maybe pressure the tower at least.
Yeah. They do have a lot of magic damage on the side of Chaos, so like this is even discounting Milan having like Bedlam or something like that. They'll have the damage to kill him relatively soon, and they might have even had it there if Kezi was close enough. Even throwing out a Malefice might have resulted in that kill. But yeah, Exorcism still does a lot of damage even through Vanguard, and then Spirit Siphon on top of that, obviously stealing the max HP. It's very hard to tank up against these types of heroes, and that's kind of what I was mentioning during the draft between Midnight Pulse, Spirit Siphon. You could have like 10,000 HP and you're still gonna die. You know, it's just that kind of team composition from Chaos.
Speaking of Enigma, he's been in the jungle and he is okay. He's working on the Hand of Midas, so going for that greedy style, and of course the item that he benefits from. Back to the mid lane. Matamba, man, the LSA connects coming out of the disruption, and Omni Slash on top of that. Bane tanking some of the hits. In fact, most of the hits, though. Yeah, the bounce is a little unlucky of sorts for Frost, as there is certainly a chance to bounce back to the Death Prophet, but that's where you got to give credit to Bane for running close enough in time.
That is such a feels bad for Frost right there, but at the same time, you know, they force him back. They're getting some, well, they will get a little bit of damage on a tier 1, probably not much. And Bounty Rune spawn looks like it's just going to be a 2 for 2. Nothing too crazy. They get a Nightmare onto Frost. He has spin though.
He does, which he doesn't even need to use apparently, so he just walks away. We'll be good to go. The drums are going to be coming, and yeah, the Bounty Runes end up being another 2 for 2 right there. But meanwhile, keep looking back at Zibe, checking on the Blink Dagger, and it is close. 1,900 gold saved up, so in the next minute or so, you'd figure that's going to come online, and that's where TFT, maybe some sort of smoke play will happen. Especially with the drums on Juggernaut actually being delivered out, too. This seems like a decent timing for the Final Tribe.
Yeah, they're looking to play it fast, and I like that. I think that they kind of feel the same way that I did, is like going late doesn't necessarily guarantee you anything against Chaos's lineup, because they just kind of have that scaling damage. So yeah, I'm totally good with this. Get a Blink Dagger, smoke up. You're going to have Laguna soon on Handskin. He's got his tome coming out right now, so that's almost level 7 for him. And yeah, they can play as aggressive as they want. They're not really cooldown reliant on TFT. Chaos, they have the Exorcism, they have the Black Hole, 2 of the longest cooldowns basically in this particular game. So, however fast TFT want to play it, they are more than capable of doing so.
That is very true. Well, we'll keep looking for that throughout the game in terms of the ultimate cooldowns especially. But Enigma does have his Black Hole ready and currently just pushing out bottom. Hand of Midas coming. He's being protected by Matoma Man of sorts. They do realize there is a ward here, though. Misery will counter ward it, but obviously at the same time, that also gives away that TFT knew exactly what they were doing, so they can't really expect to make a play out of this. Or can they? Zibe, he's still chilling here with that blink. He hasn't shown it off yet. You got to think some kind of fight's happening soon. Exorcism is committed by Matoma Man. They want to fight this Keizu. Will he be found first? Zibe is walking. He's going to walk right by him. He goes for the initiation on a Death Prophet, so he did not see Enigma to the last second. The big burst with the good blade, but the black hole in counteraction is going to end up falling, and Juggernaut's starting to get low as well. But they do kill Death Prophet. The Fiend's grip blocking down Juggernaut. However, the LSA comes out to stop Bane. The Nightmare will save him just a little bit longer, and the death to follow as Arrow gets credit for the kill. So numbers 2 for 1 does favor TFT. Losing the axe, though.
Yeah, they brought more heroes. That's basically the reason why TFT win that fight. The weird part was, like, that I thought he saw Keizu, like Zibe, and he was just going to go for Keizu, but, you know, he blinks forward, he goes for the DP kill, which is arguably the better, you know, priority in terms of, like, it's a 1 position versus a 3 position, and they made him expend Black Hole. So honestly, even though, like, the kills were traded, I would still say that TFT walk away from that very happy.
Well, it goes just back to your point, right, where Exorcism, not necessarily as on cooldown, but that's going to be on CD now, and Black Hole's on cooldown for another 150 seconds. So there's only a 2-minute window that TFT has to play extra aggressive as. Yeah, he's going to catch Milan at the top lane. Terrorize will scare him away, and Bramble Maze doesn't connect, but the Curse Crown is up. That Bedlam does so much damage. Always impressed by it, and the triple tip on top of that, so they're really rubbing it in.
Yeah, that last play was really good when he was bottom. That play was very, very not good.
No.
Like, he died, and now he just gets back in the game and dies again straight away. This guy needs a Blade Mail, like yesterday. The Blink Vanguard I'm totally okay with, but his item progression really matters because a third item is probably the most important just in terms of, like, against Death Prophet specifically. The Spirit Siphon is going to be on you the entire time because you're in melee range, so you need the Blade Mail to counteract the heal and just Ghost dealing damage to you. The Blade Mail before Yules comes out on Death Prophet is really important because it means that you can actually chunk that hero very, very fast. And you also have, obviously, like a Shadow Demon Soul Catcher and Handskin's Laguna. They are poised up here on the side of TFT, potentially looking to fight. They have vision. They can see everything that Chaos is doing. But I suppose they don't have a great way of starting a fight besides the Axe, who's a little bit too far.
Yeah, and his TP was on cooldown. As he died, he came back, and he died shortly after, so he had to walk the way back to try to make a play up there. But by the time he gets there, Chaos has already retreated. So they're going to be fine for now. As Death Prophet's still hanging around, though, a little bit, and they see that he is here. And that being Matoma Man, of course, with the warders we're talking about, and Axe is setting up. He wants so badly to go in, but this is the same area that he got turned on as well, so I understand why a little bit hesitant to make it.
Well, this time he's got his teammates, so.
And they are going to jump. Who's nearby? That's Bane. Can he save him? The Nightmare comes out on an Axe, siphons up from Death Prophet. He is healing up. Laguna Blade burst coming through. Man, those heals are real for Matoma Man. He is somehow still alive, but not enough in the end. The Colding Blade was used early, but it still doesn't matter as Matoma Man is cut down.
That's unfortunate. I think the Courier had his Yules on it, and, like, he died as the Courier got to him. If he's able to self-Yules there, he probably heals back up to, like, full HP. Another Blink Ball here.
Yeah, we're fighting at the bounty runes. Good Bramble Maze to protect, though. Terrorize on top of that. So all of a sudden, Zibe's by himself, and he needs to respect that. Curse Crown going to proc. The Malphite stuns on top of the Midnight Pulse. Disruption, saving him for the time being, but still is troublesome for Zibe. But now Frost runs in even with the spin the heal ward put down, and talk about great support. Somehow nobody dies in that exchange there, as we are going to see a pause shortly after, but yeah, good job by the supporting cast, and really even Juggernaut with the heal ward to keep Axe alive.
Yeah, I like the build here from Frost. I love the treads, drums into Maelstrom. I like the fact that he went for healing ward. He recognizes the sheer amount of damage up that the Chaos have. Like, when the Willow's on you and the Bedlam, you eat a full Bedlam. It's still a ton of damage, even after, like, the numerous nerfs that ability is received up until this point. And Vanguard does nothing against it. So really good, like you mentioned, defensive play coming in from TFT, keeping him alive. And Matoma Man is going to go ahead and TP bottom. He does have Exorcism available. I guess he just really didn't want to give Chessie the free lane and the ability to pressure the safe lane tower, but at the same time, these type of TPs means that this hero can't pressure anywhere else, right? Yeah. Like, DP is not fast. Like, you have to now walk across the map if you want to pressure an objective, or your teammates have to come to you. So that's time that TFT are going to get to potentially finish up that Maelstrom on Frost, and they are going to be smoking bottom as well, going for the... Oh, he's going to get Yeah, he's dead.
He runs right into a brick wall at full speed. Yeah, that hurts. The Coaling Blade comes out, an easy kill for TFT. That was a perfect smoke. Now, interestingly, he did scan and it hit something, so he started to run back, but by the time it hit, it was just simply too late, as we saw. So you see the lack of vision. I mean, they do have a ward here, but obviously that's where smoke comes into play for TFT.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where you kind of feel like they're there, but your TP's down, right? Because you just TP'd to the tier 1, so you think, okay, if I run in the obvious path, I'm probably still dead. Do I just hide in trees and hope? Because there's a Shadow Demon. That hero can just spam poison. Yeah, that's kind of why I was talking about the TP, because I was like, I kind of get why you TP, but at the same time, it's pretty hard when no one else on your team is even close to you.
You know, there's a couple of heroes we haven't really talked a lot about this game, and, you know, it happens to be the same role on both sides. Phantom Lancer and Medusa, both the late-game cores, and PL has kind of quietly been top of the net worth for a little bit now. He's got the Yasha, he almost has the Diffusal finished as well. So certainly, VT Faded is feeling pretty good. In fact, there's the Diffusal Blade being delivered officially. He's ready to fight himself, you'd figure.
He does have the ability to fight in that he has the utility and damage that he needs, but he's still very squishy. Like, you just saw what they did to Matumba Man. The same exact thing can happen to Faded. If, you know, the Blink Call hits him. They are going to go for the Roche attempt. Yeah. I do not believe that TFT know about this, because they would be heading over right away. At the very least, Arrow would be poison spamming. Okay, now they're coming.
They're coming, but I just pointed out the Blink Dagger on Enigma has been purchased, so look for that to make a big play from Keizu. And be that protection. The Banish comes out in the front lines. PL and Death Prophet trying to get the kill. They are going to lose their Bane, it looks like. But Keizu, he's charging in, trying to help finish it off. He's not going to go for the Black Hole just yet. As a Fear on top of Juggernaut as he ran in. VT Faded does pick up the Aegis, by the way. And the Bramble Maze obviously causing issue too. So big fight one for Chaos. They get the core kill, they get the Aegis, and they may very likely get more. Era is trying to run. Oh, wow. PL just melted. Okay, that's the poison, the Soul Catcher coming into play, I suppose, with the Laguna Blade. No, not even Nita right there, but either way, the Aegis is spent. And Lena does go down for it, but okay, well, at least they get the Aegis used.
Yeah, that's why I was saying the PL still melts. Like, he got hit by a Dragon Slave and a Soul Catcher, and he died. Like, that was the two spells that hit him. Also, I wish I had, like, an instant replay, because I'm, like, 90% sure that the Terrorize hit, like, as spin ended. So Frost wasn't able to get his Omni off. Nice catch there.
Yeah, that's very possible. I did see that he was terrorized, and that ultimately led to his death. But yeah, good catch indeed by Zibe to find the kill on a Dark Will, and he wants to hunt for the Bane now. Trying to chase after. FaZe Boots has a blink. There's the blink. There's the call. And what should be an inevitable kill. Doesn't have mana for the Coaling Blade, but of course not needed at that point. So big picture, I mean, TFT doesn't feel too bad about what just happened there.
It's a pretty even game still. The fact that they were able to immediately make them use the Aegis on the side of Chaos, like they bursted the PL down the one time. Losing a couple of supports, even Frost dying, I don't really think was like the biggest of deals. Maybe if he gets Omni off the Roshan fight's turn, then I would definitely say that TFT are feeling happy. But we haven't even seen a Black Hole yet.
True.
So I'm kind of waiting until I see what Keizu can do in a fight before I'm really going to start leaning one way or the other. Because right now, TFT looked to be in a pretty alright position.
It was, I don't know if his blink got deactivated or something, or he was just so focused on the Roshan pit, but man, I saw him start to run towards the Dire team, and I thought for sure it was coming, but not the case there. And to be fair, he did a Black Hole earlier at the bottom lane, but that wasn't that, you know, big.
Yeah, I should have. Yeah, I should have been more specific. There was one.
Yeah.
But you know, it's 20 minutes in. He's got blink. Like, if he had bought like a mech or anything else, I wouldn't kind of be talking about it as much, because if you have a mech, then your playstyle is a little bit different.
Yeah.
But you itemize specifically to Black Hole, right? And
Sure.
I haven't seen one since the blink has come out, so we'll see. It's going to make a big difference in the game. It's a lot of pressure on the Enigma player, but at the same time, he's going for the BKB after the fact, so he's itemizing to guarantee that he's able to get what he wants in the fight. And if the Axe is forced to commit, and you have a BKB and a blink on Enigma this game, you're feeling pretty happy.
Yeah.
Because as long as the fight starts and it's not on you, you essentially get a free Black Hole every time.
Medusa does take over top net worth. She's got the Manta, working towards it. I have Scotty. I also want to mention, going back to Matuma Man on Death Prophet, he had the Ag queued up first initially, but then he ended up going a Crimson Guard. Now he's working towards a BKB, so it's going to be a bit later of an Axe. at this point of the game. Is that a direction that you agree with?
I don't know. I think that Crimson is fine in like every single game where you know there's a lot of fighting going on. Like, there's never a point where I'm going to look at a team fight item and say that's not okay in a competitive environment, you know?
I was talking about Medallion on Death Prophet.
Oh, you said Crimson.
Did I say? I might have said Crimson.
I was like really confused for a second. I was
My
like,
apologies.
Who's buying Crimson and Ags that he's talking about right now?
No, yeah, I was just more like about the idea that he's getting an Ags later on now rather than pretty early, which we see sometimes on Death Prophets.
No, I like the Medallion a lot on DP because it's just a huge amount of damage, and it just synergizes with the hero so well. Like, you want armor because there's going to be a Juggernaut and a Medusa, so you need to be able to itemize against them. And I think that Aghanims is better when you feel tanky. But he doesn't feel tanky this game, so he kind of needs the armor and he needs the magic immunity.
Blade Mail finished.
High ground.
Yeah, Blade Mail finished on Axe as they're leading into this. KZ, though, he's also smoked up. Going to be exposed there, coming out. Haystream picked up by Zibe. Man, they are so close to jumping on one another, but not happening yet.
Get that courier. Get it.
Now on opposite sides, and there you go. They do kill the Dire Courier. The jump over here. Zibe just going to farm a little bit, but that mana's being burnt thanks to Diffusal Blade and Phantom Lancer. He's charging back in, going to pop Blade Mail. We have a very spread out fight right now. Midnight Pulse activated. Juggernaut wants to get locked down by the Terrorize. He can't do a damn thing. That's going to be a kill. He buys back immediately. Call does hit Death Prophet with the Black Hole on a solo Axe. Trying to save Matuma Man, if anything, they will do for the time being. Disruption will save Axe, though. In response, the LSA hitting 3 heroes, and now coming back down is silenced up, though. Medusa, that mana just getting torn through by the Phantom Lancer. Suddenly, Medusa's dead as well. Juggernaut, even with the buyback, he gets her somewhat late, and he can't really do much still. He has an Omni Slash, though, and that's going to be a solo Death Prophet. Thank you very much. So pretty good there for TFT as another buyback on Shadow Demon takes place. They are going to lose Hanskin, though, at the very end of it, too. So that's certainly a one fight for Chaos, considering the couple of buybacks.
It could have been a lot worse, too. Like, if that 3-man LSA didn't come out from Alina, that would have been an unmitigated disaster. Like, double buyback on TFT. They didn't kill the PL. Like, Matuma Man goes down, but honestly, like, I think that Chaos are more than happy with that. They've taken the net worth lead for pretty much the first time in the 23-minute game so far. But, man, I don't know. Like, the positioning from the Lina was really good in that fight. Like, Hanskin was sitting on a low ground. He's got his ether lens, so he's able to sit really far away and get the LSA out. But I feel like these fights should still be going better for Chaos. They're very disjointed. They even started by killing Frost before he was able to do literally anything.
Yeah.
And Zibe blink taunted a PL illusion because he thought it was real. Like, that's how the fight started. He got baited by illusions.
Okay.
So, yeah, like, everything considered, I feel like Chaos should have done even better there than what actually transpired. But obviously the fights are pretty chaotic. So no pun intended.
See what you did there. Yeah, that's quite the play then from VT Faded, baiting out with the illusion, happening to make it work, and maybe not going as well as they hoped for, but still a victory, and you see PL starting to build a bit of a lead. And you also saw in the last fight, again, when PL gets on top of this Medusa with the Diffusal Blade, that mana seems to just go bye-bye pretty quickly. So will be an issue that Medusa has to deal with throughout this game. And she didn't have her Eye of Scotty finished either in the fight, so I assume she hasn't now. Oh yeah, that's right, the courier died. That's right.
Yeah, the courier died. He's almost got enough for the second orb. I don't know what's on the courier, so we'll see. I don't know if there was anything on it. I think he actually still needs the orb and the point booster.
I don't think there was, so yeah, actually you're right, aren't you? Because he has 2200 gold saved up, so
yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah, I think he's still a bit away from it. It's going to be a while before he really starts to become a threat in terms of damage. Obviously, the Mystic Snake is still going to be really annoying because it has the tremendous amount of mana drain. If you get hit by 2 snakes, you pretty much just can't cast anything at that point. But we are getting very close to the stage where Kezu's going to have his BKB, and I know we talk about the Enigma a lot, but his role in the game is still very, very important. And once that BKB comes out, it means that his game gets a heck of a lot easier. We're not going to see any random LSAs canceling black holes or anything crazy like that. And it should be kind of like autopilot for him past that point. As long as he doesn't get like Omni'd or Axe called, should be pretty smooth sailing from his standpoint. And then on TFT's side, I'm trying to think if there's an item on either of these cores that you can look forward to be like, oh yeah, this item's it's really gonna do it. And I don't know, I just don't see it. That's my issue. Is like if you buy BKB, you still get killed by Midnight Pulse and Black Hole and Exorcism, right? Like there's not really a single item that saves you, like there would be in a game without these kind of heroes that just damage you through all sources of mitigation. So
what about like a Abyssal Blade even on Juggernaut eventually? On the last, seems like it could potentially be pretty good for them and their team.
I mean, yeah, that's kind of how you have to go about it. You need to go for offensive items as opposed to just building purely defensive. Because for the reasons I said, you could build the most amount of HP and mitigation that you want. You're still dying. So I wouldn't mind that kind of route at all. Like he gets a Blink, he gets like Mjolnir Basher or MKB and just goes for like killing people in Omni. Because I think if you can start a fight off that way, kind of burst oriented, which is what their team allows with the Shadow Demon, Soul Catcher, and like Laguna and stuff like that, eliminating heroes quickly and then picking off the stragglers is how TFT kind of wants to go about fights. Long fights, not going to be good for them, even with the Medusa throwing out snakes, because Faded, it's really hard to kill this guy right now.
And let's not forget, we haven't been seeing a lot of PL in these qualifiers, but I'm sure everyone knows about the 25 talent, and he is level 20 just about now, top level in the game. Point is, once he gets 25, good luck being able to take him out as slippery as he's going to be once he has that doppelganger cooldown. So he's going to help push the tier 2 tower bottom, and that will be the last outer tower that Chaos needs to destroy before focusing on the base from here on out. But Roshan, it's about a minute Roshan respawn, so fairly quicker one that could take place, and I'm sure that's going to be the point of contention coming up in the near future. As you see just in general the map right now, both teams are pushing in their respective lanes at this point.
Yeah, I really like TFT's ward right now. They have one that scouts the top shrine, and then if they have an extra obs, neither of them have one right now, but there's a good chance that there will be another observer that they can put down before Roshan actually spawns. They'll have a really good amount of vision in the Roche Pit area, because they'll be able to see wraparounds with the ward that's like right by top where the ramp is, and they'll also be able to see shrine TPs. So they're set up for Roshan. As soon as it's up, which is in 15 seconds, they'll be more than ready in the vision department, whereas, Chaos, they're playing blind. And as cool as it is to have these big ultimates, if you don't have vision, it's really hard to utilize them.
Yeah.
And both teams are kind of hovering in the vicinity of Roche. They know it's going to be up kind of soon, so you don't want to get too far out of position. And both teams can do it very quickly as well, so there's a lot of risk. They're even going to pop Exorcism for this.
All right, going for it. You mentioned the risk, though. Man, that's those bashes. Got bashed multiple times.
Dude, Roshan hits so hard now. Like,
yeah.
So many heroes that you used to be able to just kill Roshan with, I feel like you just die now.
Well, Matama Man feeling that there, but it's going to happen. I mean, they scan it, but is it too late? I think it is.
Definitely way too late.
They're running over.
It's really, oh, this feels bad. You gotta get out of here if you're TFT. You don't want this.
Can't get it. She's given a death prophet. Aegis, of course, picked up by VT Faded on the Phantom Lancer. That was just a very smooth play from Chaos. So the Roshan came up, and shortly after, Chaos is there to take it. TFT just wasn't ready. They weren't checking fast enough. And it backfires for them.
I can't believe that they just let that go with those wards.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy to me, that they just didn't contest that.
Yeah, funny enough, shortly after, now they're the ones that are pushing in, which you can argue is that even the best play, fighting into the Aegis now. But they're trying to find some kind of pick, but clearly that's not going to happen right now. Chaos is sticking together. In fact, VT Faded, he's just like, all right, let's go. Doppelganger Juke avoids the LSA, and Hanska just starts melting away. He's got a Yos save him for now. Frosto in the midst. He's at half-life suddenly, and Lena goes down, so Frost has to survive this. It's going to be thrown forward with the Spirit Lance. Zebe comes out with the Blade Mail, though, and that call, the Yules immediately, great reaction. Another throw-up. This Axe is completely uncontrollable at this point, as he can't do a damn thing himself. He's going to be locked down back here as VT Faded is still diving in. The crown going to be proccing. No, disrupted at the last second. Zebe ends up falling in the back lines. Now Medusa tanking VT Faded in the base. He does have an Aegis, but he is really deep right here. Lena's going to buy back. As they do dive in, they are going to get a kill on Dark Willow. Yeah, they're diving past the tier 3 even at that point, so maybe a bit ambitious from Chaos. They still have the Aegis.
Oh man, this game feels rough for TFT. That, like, giving away that Roshan for nothing was a huge issue. I mean, at the same time, it is kind of hard to contest when there's a BKB Blink Enigma. that's always the scary thing, right? Like, because you got these two cores that pretty much just want to auto attack and stuff, and like walk in and be able to hit, and it's just so hard for them to do that.
Whoa.
That's kind of why I favored Chaos Draft from the beginning of the game, is because at some point you're gonna have to deal with this Enigma, and they just don't have the heroes to do it. Like, simply put, they have no reach. They can't jump that guy and simultaneously do something else in the fight, and that's ideally what you would want. You would want to kill Kezu like immediately, and then be able to take the fight after the fact. But it's with the tools that they have, it's very, very difficult. They basically have to see him and then kill him before anyone else on his team is able to do anything to stop it.
Shadow Blade now going to be picked up by Enigma, so about that seeing thing, it's a little more difficult now. We'll see if they're up for the challenge. But by the way, while you're talking there, the Courier was picked off again by the Radiant. This time a much more significant Courier kill because the Hyperstone was on there for Juggernaut towards his Mjolnir. The Talisman of Evasion was also on there for Medusa as she's working towards a Butterfly. And the Aether Lens recipe to top it all off was also on top of there for, I think, maybe, it looks like for Shadow Demon. Not necessarily as big, but that was a pretty expensive Courier kill.
Yeah, that's what, almost 4K gold?
Yeah.
About 3.5K.
Just about, so.
No
TFT,
way.
they are going to get caught here. Chessie, he's popping a Stone Gaze and walking away, so, I mean, he'll survive, but now Stone Gaze is on cooldown. Chaos is very aware of this. Now's our chance. Start pushing
look
in.
at Faded, man. He just doesn't care.
Shown on the previous engagement. Remember, he still has the Aegis. Disruption barely saving the Shadow Demon for now, but as soon as he comes out, Arrow's dead. As Zebe pulls him in with the call all the way to the Tier 4 towers. VT Faded suddenly doesn't have mana to work with. And Laguna Blade even bursted into him. Isn't enough damage. Not just yet. Going to be used on up. As maybe Doppelganger, the sleep. Oh, okay, Doppelganger allows him to get away. Beautiful sleep from Misery. And he will be fine. So no Aegis spent yet for Phantom Lancer. Starting to heal up.
Man, this feels bad if you're TFT. Like, what do you do? How do you engage this? Like, Exorcism is down. They just saw it end, and they still can't go in.
Yeah. Again, no Stone Gaze for 24 more seconds. This Juggernaut, he can't get in there. Every time he starts to get into the fight, we just see him start melting. You can just see Frost is playing very passive. I mean, they just watch their racks go down in front of them, essentially. Just to really a Phantom Lancer and that Exorcism damage from Death Prop initially.
Yeah, this is a rough position to be in if you're TFT. And I know I've harped on it a lot, but this Enigma pick is actually destroying them. And it's not even because like the Black Holes have been anything spectacular. It's just because they can't commit because of the spell. Like that's the whole problem. And that's why I also said it's a free PL game, because the only person that really counters you on the side of TFT is the Axe, and the Axe can't go on you. Because if he goes on you, they automatically lose the fight. It's just such an easy game for Faded to play. Not to say that he didn't play well.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, you know, you or I could have played PL this game, and it probably would have been okay.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Okay, I get your point. I don't know about that in reality, but Axe, he's dead. He's gonna just get caught out. You see how slow he is. He can't move an inch, it feels like, and he just drops. So Axe found by himself, easy kill. Yeah, sometimes that threat of the black hole is more important than the actual use of it. We've heard that once or twice before, and KZ's showing an example of that this time around on his Enigmas. Phantom Lancer did finish his own Butterfly, and why would he stop now? VT Faded, level 22. He's going to go for the Tier 3 top. There is backdoor protection, but he doesn't care. He's just going to get some damage in. See what he can do. No one's responding yet.
I mean, it's kind of hard, so he can tank the tower forever. It's not an issue of like damage for him. It's just waiting for mid lane to push in. As soon as it gets close enough, the backdoor will fall, and then the tower will just start dying.
There we go. Backdoor wears off, and this is you queued up Draskell. The tower's going to start dying. Axe is up in 13 seconds. Without him, though, there certainly is no initiation for TFT. In fact, VT Faded, he'll bring the initiation to them. Shadow Demon, he goes down. Yeah, it just doesn't feel like they have any bit of an answer. There's a buyback on Shadow Demon, and Axe does resurrect, so we are going to have a 5 versus 5. Stone Gaze still ready to be used by Medusa, but these illusions and exorcism just chipping down the racks meanwhile So hard to stop. Matoma Man slowing down a little bit by the Scotty attacks, but she's got a Shiva's even, which she'll throw out there. They're thinking about committing. So they're going to save the racks for now. Oop, he missed the call. Zibe went in. Not going to connect. VT faded, walking away to sense the illusions, and suddenly Zibe's out of mana. And we'll have to start walking away now. Terrorize on Medusa. She was walking that way anyways, I suppose, as Milan is going aggressive with that yield. Disruption saving Medusa for now, but he's being beat on by VT Faded. The Fiends get locked down, and this Medusa will just melt away. The black hole from Kids, he just wanted to use it, damn it. He pops a BKB, he catches Lena, and Lena's out for 90 seconds. Double buyback between Axe and Medusa. It just is not going to matter, though, it feels like. Game 1 is within grasp here for Chaos to secure.
Yeah, I mean, they've played a very methodical game. A couple of mistakes here and there from Chaos, like getting picked off. Matumba Mad had some weird TPs where he kind of just died and his team wasn't really able to do much for him. But at the end of the day, Misery's draft is just, it was really good this game. And that's kind of why I was really curious about the Shadow Demon opening from TFT. And you mentioned, the hero has an abysmal win rate.
Yeah.
Like, just really, really bad. And they still open with a Shadow Demon, and this hero is so confined in his playstyle. Like, he doesn't have flexibility in being able to suddenly transition into a hero that can catch for you or anything like that. He's very static in what he kind of offers to a draft, and that's why it really puzzles me as to why people would first phase him, because he doesn't... normally when you first phase a hero, it's going to have a game no matter what happens, or at least that's kind of what you would hope. And I think Axe kind of fits that bill to a degree. They're going to smoke on TFT. Looking for something, Black Hole's down. Exorcism is going to be up very soon.
Well, it's Black Hole. They know Black Hole's down initially, but as you see there, refresher orb just picked up by Enigma, so that could throw them off here if they engage. They're wrapping around. They might see the Enigma. No, he's on the uphill. They're checking the Roshan pit. He could have potentially respawned by now, so they are going to be exposed. And here we go. Stone Gaze by Jesse as he just walks on in. Juggernaut also going in. They think they might be doing Roshan, but as we see, it's not even up. You see the Midnight Pulse throwing down, and they already got the kill on Shadow Demon Axe. He's dealing with Phantom Lancer somewhat, getting him low. VT Faded has to respect that, but the Black Hole finally coming out. They get the one kill on Juggernaut, and it also catches Medusa. GG is called. TFT realizes not enough, and they're going to give up here. Chaos Esports Club taking game 1. We are in the best of 3, though, so remember, for the playoff stage. So still a series to be had.